Yo guys, it's Jakube here with an amazing tier list video that someone told me to do about 2 weeks ago, and I finally got around to doing it, but it's going to be uploaded 2 months later because that's just my lifestyle. So basically, someone told me to do a tier list video for Alcatraz SMGs. So as you can see here, every SMG has been beautifully made by me here, and I even added in the operator mod variations because I do believe they do deserve a spot. They play completely different than the originals. So you got 2 Spitfires here and 2 GKSs, and the way I'm going to be ranking these SMGs will be basically without any metric. I will be using variables from anywhere. So some of these guns will have like variables that just work for one gun and are not really relevant to others. Basically in the most, I guess, objective sense possible. So I'm not gonna ignore some of the good parts or shit parts about a gun just because the variable seems so weird. So whatever it is, I'll talk about it, and that's how I'm gonna rank it. If you want to see more tier lists, make sure you tell me, because I would love to do more as long as you want them. So I could do like ARs, ICRs, I could do ARs, I could do wonder weapons, I could do whatever. There's so many different ones I can do. But anyway, just so this video doesn't get too long, let's start with the tier list. We got 12 slots. The first one is the Chordite. Oh my god, what a beautiful gun. What an amazing gun. This gun is basically good in every aspect. It's like average, decent damage, decent velocity. But there's one aspect of it which is amazing, and that is ammo capacity. This gun even has the upgrade path to go to hybrid mags, which most of these don't. So you have 90 bullets with hybrid mags, and you have the fast mag ability with that as well. This gun, it basically becomes actually something special because of that factor, because you can hold R1 and just spam bullets and basically never run out of magazine. That's why this gun is actually pretty good, although everything else is just so average about it. The damage is like okay, the speed is okay, so I wouldn't call it godly epic, but I'd just say it's pretty good. It's okay, it's decent. It's a decent gun, it's viable, but I would rather trade it out for a few other guns up here. But it's definitely better than some of the shit ones down here that you'll see. Speaking of the shit one, Daemon, dog shit. I don't even want to talk about it, it's just dog shit. There's no good parts about this gun. It's a burst, so it's shit on ping because of the shit hit detection. Bursts usually do worse on ping, simply because you get cucked by hit detection on every bullet you fire. Tracking with this is horrible because you're going to be shaking your controller like a dildo because you have to spam the R1. The gun has horrible damage, basically everything. Jesus Christ, even velocity on this shit is garbage, which makes it even worse on ping because you have to lead your shots to Africa to make this work. It uses 45 cal, which I guess is sort of good because you can always find ammo for this piece of shit. But I mean, the thing is, when you find the ammo, you always find strifes, and the strife, to be honest, is a random common pistol, but I'm pretty sure it's actually better than this gun, like in most situations. And that's when you know this thing is so dog shit, because the ammo point for this gun, which like for example the Spitfire can use because it uses 45, it's unused. It's not a point because you would just rather grab the shitty strife that comes with the ammo. This gun has nothing good about it. Even the ammo capacity, that's one of the things that this thing has. It has decent ammo capacity, and it has a hybrid option like Chordite. Problem is, because it's a 3-round burst, even though you have 48 bullets, you divide that by 3 and you get 16 bursts. When you think about it that way, that's the big RIP. This gun has horrible FMJ capabilities, so it doesn't shoot through armor, like at all. And the damage drop-off is ridiculously bad. The recoil is weird because it doesn't actually really have recoil, it has recenter speed, which means you can't really recoil control this piece of shit, which sort of is good for long range guns, sort of, because it's recenter, it's fine, it's a bit more nice for that. But for an SMG, you know, you would be better off having like even like SORG recoil, because then at least you can counter it. Here it's just, I mean, it's static because it's just recenter speed, you can't make it worse or better. This gun is horrible, it's just ass. I mean, if I have any other points for any of these guns later on, I'll talk about them. That's basically all I want to say about this piece of shit. It's just garbage. There's nothing good about this piece of shit. But actually, the funniest part about this gun, the only good part about this gun, funniest thing, you know what it is? You know what the good part about this gun is? you can use rapid fire with it. That is literally the only good part about this gun. There is people who will actually love this gun because they'll pick it out of the blackjack with a vendetta, because guess what? This gun works with rapid fire because it's a burst. So the only good part about this Daemon is the fact that you can cheat with it. Oh my god, it's just, this gun is a joke, honestly. Like, it's literally trash. Anyway, micro, get off this piece of shit. Micro MG 9mm. This is one of the reasons I was talking about variables, like every variable. This gun is literally like godly legendary status sort of because of how good it is. But then there is one Achilles heel to this gun. It comes from blackjack, okay? And there's 2 guns in the blackjack. And the other gun is a VMP. And for most people who already know where this VMP goes, it's simply better than the micro. And you never pick out 2 of the same ammo types because it's pointless. And these guns fight over the same classification, and you'll pick VMP 99% of the time. So this micro MG, in literally 95% of the times it is useful, will never be used because you would just rather use a VMP. That fact about it is literally dog shit, but it does make up for it because it's a really good gun. It has really good time to kill. It's a solid gun. Close range, melts people. It has a what is it called? It's like a heat up, a build up when you shoot, so you have a delay before you can shoot it because it's like a small minigun. That's fine because the rapid fire makes up for it. It actually has normal, like a very, very nice rapid fire on it. It's an epic gun, but if it literally wasn't in the blackjack or the VMP wasn't in the blackjack, then this would be something like legendary godly. But I'm ranking all these guns on every single variable, so I'm gonna put it in epic. To be honest, I literally have barely ever used this because of that one variable, because it's in a blackjack. But I mean, it is what it is. It's just how it is. MP40, one of the weirdest guns in this category, because it's the only gun which has no attachments, which is actually good because Treyarch balanced it out and built in attachments that aren't actually available for most other guns. So this gun has basically a built-in high caliber, so it has a very, very, very good headshot multiplier on it, which means it can melt the shit out of people. It also melts through armor, very unlike the Daemon, because this thing is dog shit. It's like the complete opposite. It melts through armor. It is an absolute beast at everything. It has amazing damage and pretty decent, okay consistency. It does fall off because its velocity is ass and its fire rate is pretty garbage. But if you learn how to use this gun and spend some time with it, the velocity aspect of it is a variable thing. It's not, for example, like fire rate where it's just static, you can't make it go up. When you have shit velocity, you can make it better by being better at the game, which is why I would put this in legendary. This thing is amazing because it has decent consistency as long as you're good. If you're really good, you can make this thing work very, very well. And also, because of that, it has really good potential, and on ping, it also works in the same way. It's either really shit on ping, if you don't know how to use it, or it's really, really good. It's like one of the best guns on ping. The reason it's really good on high ping is because when you have high ping, you have, I believe, 2 advantages. One of which is the fact of you can ping enemies through walls. So your bullets will curve through walls and do damage past them. The MP40 has a very much better effect on that because it has more damage. And so if you just hit 2 shots and they take cover, they'll still take 60 damage. That doesn't happen with a Daemon because it literally does like 20 damage per shot. So yeah, big RIP. Also, I forgot to mention with the Daemon, it literally takes like 9, maybe 11 bullets to actually kill a guy who has level 3. Disgraceful. This gun, on the other hand, melts through most armors. Pretty much very, very good. Even the hipfire is very nice on it. Unlike other guns, specifically the switchblade has a pretty shit hipfire. This is very solid. Only problem, velocity and a bit more consistency is a bit, you know. But yeah, very nice gun. Spitfire operator mod, this beautiful rape machine. By slightly, I think it has slightly better fire rate than the micro MG. It also is in the same variable where it's slightly more difficult to find, but I'm not going to be ranking it on that because this comes from mystery boxes and boxes, but it's not the same as micro because this doesn't get limited to a pool where you have to choose between one gun or another. If you find this, you find it. You don't have to sacrifice anything. here you have to sacrifice the VMP. So this isn't a problem. This thing being rare is not really an issue. But it basically falls in the same category as this. So I'm just going to put it here. The reason is it is an absolute melt machine for close range, and it takes 45 cal, so you basically have infinite ammo for this thing. You will never run out. When you pick up operator mods, so both of these, you will have full attachment, so you already have the full upgrade path. So you'll have the hybrid mag option, which is amazing for this gun because you basically have infinite ammo. You have higher mag and faster mag, and you have very nice fire rate. So this gun basically has decent speed, but it does have the lack of like movement, because when this has the same effect as the micro, so both of these actually have the same effect. It happens with LMGs as well. If you shoot this gun, you can't strafe, so the strafe of this thing is garbage. But that's why, in my opinion, like this thing is pretty decent to hip fire, especially with like laser sight, which it already comes with, and when you have mobility, so you can gung-ho the shit out of people. But there is one thing also that's kind of ass about this, which is it doesn't have a long barrel. So when you have an op mod, there is no long barrel option, so you lose velocity. Basically, this gun is very situational. If you know how to play it, it is an absolute god tier gun. But I'd say because it's not as consistent, because it's situational, it has to be close quarters combat. You have to be killing people who redeploy with 45 cal sometimes a bit. It kind of gets dragged down a bit, but I'd call it epic. In my opinion, better than a micro. I think micro would have done slightly better than this thing if it wasn't in a blackjack. But Spitfire op, if I find it, I'll use it. I love this shit. MX9 is like the complete opposite of this. The Spitfire op is like really good in one single thing, which is of course the fire rate. This thing is just okay in everything. There's literally, I find it difficult to even speak about this gun because it's just okay. It has okay damage, has an okay mag, has okay strafe, okay speed, decent recoil. The upgrade path is like the most okay upgrade path out of all of them. Like, I mean, it has every attachment except what's that shit called? Shit. Except full grip, which is like the most useless one. One thing I'd have to say about this is some of these guns, I think the Daemon as well, I just realized this. Just remember, the Daemon you can't YY with properly because the YY doesn't cut out the reloads. The reload animation is not good enough for the YY to work on it, which is another reason this thing is dog shit. I'm pretty sure that happens with the MX9 as well, so that the reload is like okay. Everything's just okay. I mean, it's just good. In my opinion, it's lower than the Chordite because the Chordite does specifically work in a nicer set of scenarios because of its magazine size. Even the time to kill might be slightly lower than this, for example. But I do think these are very close to each other. Like, they are quite interchangeable. But that's where I put the MX9. Not much to say, it's just kind of average. GKS op is a very interesting one because most people I know, I don't think they really pick this up. But I love this gun. This gun is beautiful. 45 cal, never run out of ammo. You always have full attachments with this because it's an op mod. You have amazing damage and time to kill potential, unlike the other counterpart of the GKS. This thing is actually, in my opinion, pretty good. It has no recoil. You can melt people cross map. It's basically an AR. The only thing that's actually, one of the things that's bad about it is it's a burst like the Daemon, so Brawler doesn't work. So when you use the Daemon, I don't know if I mentioned this, when you use the Daemon, your Brawler will not work because you have a burst delay. So if you burst, you have to have all 3 bullets come out before you can Brawler. Here, it's even worse because it's 4 bullets and the bullets come out slower. So Brawler with this gun is a bit worse off to use, especially if you're already shooting. But the actual gun's performance is very good. In my opinion, it's an epic gun. I would probably put it above the Micro. Again, Micro is getting really handicapped by the fact that it's a DLC gun. GKS op, very nice. I mean, I don't have anything else to say about it right now. If I remember something else, I'll mention it later on. VMP, I think most people will know where this goes. Anyone who doesn't, I don't know if they've played Alcatraz too much. Even in multiplayer, this thing is in literally the same spot. I mean, it's godly. It's quite obvious where it would go. This gun is biggest strength is the fact that it's so consistent. Everything about this gun is above average in good. The Spitfire, for example, technically does better than the VMP in one aspect, which is like how fast it can kill, potentially. The rapid fire, or the fire rate, etc. MP40 also does better than VMP in like damage, right? But all of these guns have handicaps in other areas, right? Shit recoil, shit velocity. This gun, in fact, however, though, it has like top tier stats on everything. Not exactly first place on anything, but everything is consistent over the top. So there's not much things to say about this gun. I mean, it does have the fact that it comes from a blackjack, but that does make it not exactly hard to find, because people find blackjack somewhere. You'll always find a VMP in a match usually. So there's not really a problem in finding it. Everything is consistent. I don't actually have anything else to say about this, because there is basically no reason to say this thing is garbage. There is only one part about it that is it is very picky, but it's the only bad thing. It uses 9mm, which isn't exactly a point that you can make, because most of these guns use 9mm, and it's technically worse than 45 cal because it's much rarer. But other than that, I mean, that's basically it for this gun. Like, it's quite obvious, it's very good. Anyway, the other GKS, the non-operator mod version, in my opinion, this thing is quite shit. If I pick this up, I want to trade it out. If you pick it up, like, in the early game, it's not that bad. The more you progress in the game, the more useless this becomes, because it doesn't feel like it does. It has like such a shit time to kill. In my opinion, it's not as bad as a Daemon. I'm pretty sure this thing has a worse time to kill, but it's way more consistent than this piece of shit. This piece of shit doesn't... Realistically, if this piece of shit didn't have, like, some of the attachments it has, like, it would be down here. There should honestly be another tier for this Daemon, to be honest, because it's literally that shit. So this is very difficult for this to do worse. But again, it has the same handicaps as the Daemon. Shit time to kill. Pretty ass, but it is consistent. It has decent recoil. The velocity, again, shit like the Daemon. Unlike the GKS AWP, which actually surprisingly does very well in most of these aspects. Like, everything that is bad about this GKS is fixed in the GKS AWP. This thing is usable though, in my opinion. If you're good enough and you can aim hard enough and you can try hard enough, it is usable. It's not exactly dog shit. So as you probably know, it's in a D tier, usable tier. It's okay. It's decent. It has 45 cal, which is good. But it's something you want to trade out most of the time. The Saug, oh, the beautiful Saug, the most elegant of the guns of them all, the most prestigious, beautiful gun. In my opinion, if this ranking was a ranking of sexiness, this would be above godly, bro. It would be like divine. This gun is so sexy. It's just, the best part about this gun is the fact that it's one of the best guns in the speed category, because it has like one of the best like aim down sights times, strafe speed times, even fire rates. In the mid-tier fire rates of these, it has one of the best ones. So it's actually better than the VMP and better than the Switchblade, from what I'm aware. So overall, this gun is a very, very nice gun in consistent lightweight. So I'm gonna put it legendary, bro. I love this gun. I don't believe it's as good as the MP40, although I think they're very, very close in this category. Like, I would sometimes pick this up over this. This has a very good advantage because it at least has attachments. So it gets speed and magazine. This thing gets candy cap, which I forgot to mention with magazine, because it has no fast mag, so you don't reload fast at all. So if you're getting quad child, big RIP. This thing, fast mag, I think it's one of the fastest reloads out of all these guns, and you can YY it properly. The iron sights, which I haven't mentioned with all of these guns, are actually really good. Most of these guns have good iron sights though, except I think some of the except the Sorg Mastercraft. If we had a Sorg Mastercraft on this list, it would be somewhere like here. That's actually how badly the iron sights go. But yeah, Sorg is quite legendary. Switchblade is basically the Sorg, but in a different manner. Basically what the Switchblade is 50% of the things about the Sorg go worse, and 50% of the things go better. But they only go better very slightly. But what this means about the Switchblade is that it has, in my opinion, slightly better consistency, because what goes better is damage and, like, I guess damage potential, a bit better recoil management, because the recoil pattern of this gun is slightly more predictable, so you don't have to do weird shit with it. But what you do lose is slight speed, so it is slightly slower than the Sorg. Not exactly in movement speed. Like, movement speed is all basically the same for all of these, except I think maybe the micro. I think micro might have slightly worse movement. So as you're probably guessing, I mean, the Switchblade is going to go here, in my opinion. Again, I don't think it's as good as the MP40. The thing that the MP40 has over these two guns is it's very good in one category, which makes this really, really valuable in certain situations. It's sort of like the Spitfire op, with being like better than these two because it's so catered to one idea. Same thing here, and this one is also really catered to consistency. These two are sort of very good at consistency, but they're not amazing. This gun is basically a VMP, but a non-DLC version of it. Same with this, it's basically a VMP, but a non-DLC version of it. The way this works is like, this is in the middle of the VMP and SORG, and it sort of takes aspects of both, but makes them slightly worse. But in my opinion, it's still better than the SORG. Spitfire. Ooh, where would you think this would go? Interestingly enough. 45 cal, so you always get more ammo for this. It has a very good upgrade path, which is nice. One thing I forgot to mention about the positives of this, the Spitfire has a very good positive in the operator mod version. The GKS also has this, and so does the op. When you find the operator or golden versions, you can actually switch them out really easily, which is something the SORG doesn't have, and neither does like the switchblade or anything, because those get a suppressor, and the SORG gets really affected by that. That's one of the things about the SORG that's also pretty shit, like, you have horrible range drop-off. Switchblade not exactly, doesn't fall off that hard, so it's slightly better off. But anyway, back to the Spitfire. Spitfire, pretty shit velocity, pretty shit damage, but it does have the same thing as the Spitfire operator mod, where it has really good what's it called, fire rate. It's not as good, of course. I think it's like 30% slower, and it has a long barrel here, so you can actually fix the velocity problem slightly. It is very inconsistent because the damage is kind of ass, and when you use it on ping, yeah, it's a bit of an RIP. Most guns which have slightly worse damage, in my opinion, work worse on ping, but this does make up on lower ping because it has such a high fire rate, so this does melt people, especially when they have no armor and they just redeploy, and you can always have ammo for it. So in my opinion, as you can see, I'm hovering around this area, I'd say it's an epic, and again, sadly, I think it's better than micro, bro. This thing getting cucked by the Black Shack literally drops it down like 6 guns. That's the only reason this is above it. If there was no Black Shack, this shit would be somewhere up here, bro. It'd be crazy. But yeah, I'd say Spitfire is here. I don't know if you want to agree or disagree. That's cool. I think this has basically covered everything. I've pretty much talked about every single aspect of these guns. So I don't know if I forgot something. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. If you want to have your opinions on this, make sure you put them down in the comments. I will reply to them. Disagree or agree, who knows. If you want to chat shit about how I rated these, fine. If you're surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if you are surprised, because most people like rate some of these horribly low. I enjoy using these. But yeah, this is the Jakube tier list for the SMGs in Alcatraz. I mean, yeah, this is it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you do want to see more of these, make sure you tell me down in the comment sections. I can of course make whatever tier list you want, ARs, whatever, who cares, I can make whatever. If you do want to do this tier list yourself, I will link it down in below. So I created this tier list, so I think it's uploaded on the tier list website. So if you do want to make a tier list video yourself, that'll be there. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to BO4 Jakube. But yeah, other than that, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Have an awesome day. Until then, make sure to not be gay.